Okay, we are back logged in. So I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna do a new canvas for a new search. Find me a candidate for. Um, oh, here's a fun one. So let's look at the candidates for ag commissioner. Now, remember we talked about how the data isn't the best and how it would be great if there was a tax ID involved and how we use these entities to conceal the source of money. Well, here, these are people that are taking donations under their own name. What about Wilton Simpson? Doesn't he have a pack or something? Friends of Wilton Simpson. All right. So there, let's see. This is a candidate committee and not a pack. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to politics. But what I do know is the technology. So what we found here is that this candidate isn't reporting donations directly to him. All his money is going to Friends of Wilton Simpson, I assume. Um, so, okay, let's compare um, grassroots analysis on Wilton Simpson and who's this guy? Matthew. Let me make sure it gets the search right. Go. All right, here we go. So, Matthew Taylor, small individual donors. $50 is the median donation. Um, Wilton Simpson's committee is heavily dependent on large pack corporate money, 97% of his 1.06 million, with far fewer donors, 57. I don't know if that's correct. I assume he would have more, but we'll take a look here in a second. And apparently they see some out-of-state funding. Um, put these on the map, please. All right, so here's Wilton Simpson. Oh, it is on the map already. I just didn't zoom out. I was like, what is going on? Okay, let's expand his. You can move these clusters around. You can get it in view here. Um, Friends of Wilton Simpson. Let's see who the big boys are. Jack's Palatka Farms, $100,000. Capfin LLC, $713,000. Who is that? This is likely a It's likely an expense, right? They're paying them for something. I don't know yet, but you can figure that out. Data targeting Inc. 191,000. So this is campaigning for like activities. These are calling campaigns and social media stuff. Um, IRS, okay. Um, and here's Racetrack Inc. United States Sugar Corporation. Let's expand them. Well, they're given to a bunch of people here. Friends of Jim Boyd, Florida Republic Senatorial, Republican Party, Joe Gutters, Walton Simpson, Army United, Conservatives for Better Florida, Advancing Florida Agriculture. Ooh, that's interesting. Let's pull that one out. We'll go back to that one here. All right. So almost all of these, especially even True Leave, True Leave's the biggest donor. They've given more money across the state of Florida than anybody. Um, Isaac Communication Team. Yeah, these are. Wow. Okay. So, over here to this dude. His biggest donor is Shopify. Okie dokie. So here the AI made a mistake. Shopify did not give to him. This is probably merchandise that he has bucketed all as just it just put Shopify there. That may or may not be the right way to do it. But when the AI did the analysis and said he's let's see. Um, look at okay. So I think his score should be 100. Yeah, 19%. Okay. Yeah, so the reason he got an 80 on the grassroots score and not 100 is because the AI assumed that Shopify was a corporate donor when I think it's just merchandise. So, correction. We've got 100% grassroots versus less than half grassroots for the other dude. Both Republicans. Let's see. Printify. Okay, that makes sense. Um, Mark. Mark's a good friend, apparently. Uh, that was very generous. I don't know what this is. Janovich. So you're going to see a lot of thousands. Here's some more merchandise related stuff. And then just to put things in perspective, so you have a good visual of what some of the stuff you can do. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's expand Wilton Simpson. All right, here we go. So Mr. Simpson, this is as big as his circle gets. Because there's not a lot of grassroots going on here. It's all just big money. Let's do this dude. Do 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 do. Okie dokie, Smokey. So if you ask yourself who's more popular among the two, I would say this guy, Mr. Simpson, is getting money, but it's being channeled through everybody else. A stronger Florida. That tells me nothing about what they're about. Well, who's not for a stronger Florida? Obviously, everybody's for that. Let's just give our money there. And it's so on the nose, like it's so obvious when they come up with these silly names um, that are all very ambiguous and they all kind of sound alike, and you can't remember what they are. Like that's not an accident, but it's just so silly and juvenile that they do that. It's like they think people are that stupid. It's like, well, I guess it works. I guess um, here's money coming into a stronger Florida Division of Good Government PAC, and you can follow this money all the way back. Florida Division of Good Government, where do they get their money? Memorial Hospital, give them 25. HCA Florida. Okay, these are a bunch of hospitals. So we got a whole bunch of different hospitals giving to a stronger Florida giving to Wilton Simpson. Do these hospitals know when they give here that the money's going to end up there? Is that the intent? Or is it just here's the money and, do with it what you will? Um, no clue. All right. So let's log back out and talk a little bit about the science. We're running out of time. Um, knowledge graph. Imagine that part of this is understanding how the AI works in the first place. So, um, have any of you heard of a neural network? You see these graphics and they show you a whole bunch of columns of different nodes. And each one of those are like little dials that get turned, right? And the end result of that AI training process is um, um, a bunch of vectors, multi-dimensional vectors. They're doing matrix math and that sort of thing. So um, in the database, we have what's called a vector data type. And what that does is it will store the relationships or how far away these concepts are according to the large language model that we use. So um, words might be the same. Say, for example, the word queen, right? If I just said the word queen, what are you associating with that? A deck of cards, the band, a drag queen, like a castle. Um, that it lacks context, right? So, in as far as the AI is concerned, the queen in a deck of cards and the queen band are two completely separate concepts. They're in different places in the data. Um, Now, because AI functions that way, and because we can encode any data that way, we take every single transaction combined with the information we know about the candidates and to and from, and we vectorize it. So now when we run a query, the AI runs a query, and it can measure the distance between the concepts. So you type in some stuff, it says, okay, I'm going to search for this. It's not matching the string, it's matching the concepts, and it's called semantic search. So the powerful thing that's going on in the background is the new thing. So most websites and stuff in the next several years are going to be functioning like that instead of trying to match a bunch of strings. But it allows us to do really cool things. Um, Here I talk about some of the issues with the Florida Department of Election, My Florida Elections website. One, they're going straight to the database, and those errors are bubbling up to the public. So this is a security thing. This is a problem. Um, Two, um, we were right. This is a 1990s website, and I know that because the notes from the developer are in the HTML code that's served when you get the search results. That literally say, this dude, if he's still around, revised that code and he put a comment in there January 7th, 2000, 26 years ago, 26 and a half years ago. Um, okay, we could do better than that. Like that's really really shameful. Just from a technology standpoint, we need the government needs to operate better than that. Um, the interface is piss poor. The results cap at 500. You can't really export anything properly. It's a big jumbled mess, and there's so many things that we could do with this data that we aren't. Um, and it seems very convenient that this website's not been updated for 26 years um, when it was the intent of the legislator to make sure that the public had this information at their disposal so they know who they're voting for and can vote in a direction that they want instead of just voting blind all the time. You don't know anything about these people, and we don't have any relevant tools to give us an insight into who's legit, who's telling the truth, who is getting donations from entities that are in opposite of their campaign rhetoric. That's in here too. So those of you that are experts at this and understand all the inside baseball will be able to absolutely dominate using this level of data and this level of access. Um, and again, everything in here you can click and go all the way down to the individual transaction so that uh, it's just not, you can verify that what the AI is telling you comes from some data point somewhere. If you just go on ChatGPT and you ask it a question, you don't know whether it's hallucinating that answer, whether it's getting confused. You still are going to have to click all the links and go and look at the primary sources. In this case, we have a primary source, which is this database that they sent me. So it's defensible. Now, in the process of normalizing the data, there are probably some errors in there that are going to be found. That's why I said this is a research tool. It is not a substitute for the actual public record that you need to get from the government entity that's responsible for it. So that's the cool tool. Follow themoneyflorida.org. It is not a registered nonprofit, not yet at least. I just want to put that disclaimer out there. There is a donation button if you want to help, but follow themoneyflorida.org. We can start here. We can expand to other states, or we can even expand this tool to do the cool new stuff that you guys think of with the publicly available data. There's a lot more out there that we can look at. Well, we just need to make the right requests and get it loaded up so we can actually use modern day technology that isn't, you know, a quarter of a century year old. So um, appreciate you watching the video this far. Good luck with it, and you can. There's an email in there if you want to send an email with some feedback. If you find any issues, anything that's inaccurate, let me know, and we'll clean up our side, or at least try to verify against the publicly available data. So have a wonderful day. See you guys.